back there, I got greed and doesn't like to share feelings.
We heard Bonnie.
I usually try to leave one ear off. That way I could hear myself if I'm being too loud.
I heard Harry's files.
Let's put Bonnie in.
I think Bonnie.
She's doing a great job.
Are you good to be blindfolded? Kelly,
Yeah,
hand over your
so when we
cameras
walk into
together.
the street.
And then you two have a seat here on the bench. Do I stay trained on them or? Okay.
Can I put my purse on?
You're going to be sitting.
Oh, I'm going to be sitting. Oh, okay.
Okay, here's how this is going to go. I'm going to hand you guys the equipment. Is she listening to this here?
I just turned it down.
Okay, perfect.
Let me make sure I know how to turn it back up.
We're going to walk away and you're blindfolded. You are not going to put it on until we come back. If I blindfold a bunch of ladies and sit them on the bench and walk away, it never looks good. Your blindfold is disposable. I don't want your eye boogers back. So buy them in bulk. Yes, you can get these from the 50 Shades of Grey tab on Amazon.
You sure it's not Adam and Eve?
Right. You probably will.
You get 10 free gifts.
So when we come back, I will give you guys a few tips and tricks of what to expect out of this. And I do time this just to make sure like it doesn't get to be too overwhelming. We only do the session for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And so Bonnie, just so you know, I'll take your wrapper.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. Just so you know, Kevin will have to tap you from time to time. Here's what'll happen is if you're too loud, which I say like you're going to
Yeah,
be,
it's because I keep turning it up. So
yeah,
I can hear.
he's going to tap you on the shoulder to quiet down. We have neighbors. So actually, I just see that the door is open. So we want to make sure we kind of stay quiet over here. It's a beautiful night out here in Charleston. You live right there. That's a beautiful mansion. I don't have it. So,
Paid a lot of money for it.
Be a little more quiet if I can.
yeah, and then when we're done, he'll tap you on the knee. So nobody can figure him out. It's okay. I wait to see if you guys fumble. It's a Batman mask. I figured there was going to be a lot of ladies doing this, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't messing up anybody's hair.
It's awesome.
Look at me. Thank you, 50 Shades of Grey tab. But yeah, you guys are going to. Yep.
Oh, but then I have these things.
Right. You're not going to be putting anything on yet.
Okay.
But now you know how they all work.
Okay.
So just sit here and chit chat for a few minutes. I'm going to take these three folks over by that monument, and I'm going to give them the quick history, and then we will be back to get this whole.
Can I listen to that one while they're
I don't want to hit the wrong button. I just want to.
Yeah, it's just the volume.
Don't hit anything but volume.
I know.
I don't know what we did earlier.
You hit something on the front to do with the playback.
Okay.
There's probably, I don't know, about 60 to 70 hours of other tours on there. So I erase it every 2 or 3 months. Okay. All right, let's walk over this way. Doing this experiment, you're going to stay fixed right on them, and then of course you can kind of wander and just turn around. You don't want to obviously stay in earshot because I'm going to need you in case she needs to be touched. So first time I came in here, this was an experiment, and I didn't know why the other ghost tours were coming in here. I just wanted to know what the hell happens here. Why does everybody start here? There's a million monuments in here, so I didn't even know who the hell we were going to find. However, the young lady, I only had 2 folks. It's November. The young lady using the spirit box heard the year 1828 and the name Henry. I was using a digital word generator, and I had the name Tim come up on mine. Behind me is a bust of Henry Timrod. He was born in 1828. Cannot make stuff up, even if I tried, by the way. So I was like, well, hot damn, there's my ghost. So here's the quick story on this one. He's sick through most of his life, and he's a writer. Okay, so that's kind of how I relate to this guy most of the time. However, he's born in 1828. He can go fight in the Civil War. Told him, let's go fight for the Confederate side. So he goes out to the battlefield, and his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. So they sent him home, knowing he was a writer. They said, go be the voice of the war, dude. go tell people what's going on out here. Came home to Charleston, started writing poetry about what was going on out there. He became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. That's a pretty high title in the English world, in case you're not familiar. Now, he has a son. His son's name is Willie. He's born on Christmas Eve, but he dies 9 months later. I know I'm always telling you guys about dead kids, and I apologize for that, but that's just the way these stories work.
And that's all, right?
Yeah. So, with that, him and his wife Katie are mourning. Henry's not writing as much. He has another writer friend here in town. His name is Paul, and he realizes he's not publishing as much in the newspaper he was working for. So he offers him his cottage in Columbia, middle of the state. He says, "Go get back on track, dude. Leave your wife behind. Her parents are here to help her out with the mourning piece, and you can get back to work." So he goes out there and he wrote his last words. His last words were, "Beholder of brief mortality," which basically translates to "dear person with a short life." And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in a bloodstain. He had tuberculosis. He died right there, age 38, pen in hand. Perfect way for a writer to go. But we are here because of the bloodstain. The bloodstain looks like a man writing at his desk. We call it the Blood Book. They show it one day a year at the Charleston Library Society because that's where his poetry collection is held. And they only show it on Halloween, and you have to be a member to be able to go see it. However, the internet is beautiful. I'm going to show you what the page looks like. And then we're going to hopefully get Bonnie to channel Mr. Timrod. He can be a little timid. He's not always happy about me being here, by the way. And he's just, I don't want to say shy, but he's just like bitter. I'm poking the bear every damn night. Here is your blood book. So, beholder of brief mortality, cough, cough, death. Here is what that blood stain turned out to be.
You got it.
Just a man chilling writing at his desk. We've actually had an image one night. This was about a year ago. Maybe not quite so long, a year ago, but we had an image come out almost in this exact shape. But that thing that was in this shape was a knitted baby. Like you would crochet something that looks like an animal or something, it looked like a baby, but was in that shape. I was able to take this and make it opaque and overlay it to show them how close the shape was. So I do a lot of extra things when we find really cool shit. But hopefully when we get over there, we'll be able to channel Mr. Timrod and get him to start coming forth. I'll be asking some questions relative to the things I just told you about. I always work things in slowly just to see if he's here. We also get Dr. Ladd that will come through. His home of 59 Church Street is literally 0.3 miles that way. It's literally around the corner. So he loves to come over here and show off a bit because it is direct communication. So we'll kind of see how these things go. I'm not going to mention Dr. Ladd to Bonnie at all. I don't want her having that precognition in the back of her brain. Fair enough?
Yep.
All right, let's go talk to the ghost.
Any specific baseline?
2.5. 2.5 for sure.
So while you guys were gone, I read Attorney's License 20,000 and Joe
For Joe Biden, everybody.
on
Joe
Verizon.
Biden.
I went Verizon and bloated.
God.
I want you guys to all stop and think about the last thing I just told you.
Ah.
Got it? You got why I'm
Yes.
excited about Joe?
Is he an attorney? Because
For
like
Verizon. Who was bloating?
floating.
Let me see your phone here real quick. I have to set it up. This is the first time. This was my old phone as of yesterday. My new phone is in my pocket. So this will be the first time where I'm actually taking it out of the device to hand back to you, so I can just turn it back on. So here's how this is going to go. Obviously, you know the hand signals. Quiet down.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
done. Okay. So that's going to come from Kevin only. I will never touch you, just so you have that idea. I don't touch any of you guys unless, of course, it's only 2 people here, and then I don't
Can I
do
have
this for that exact reason.
Is this kind of thing?
Now, Kelly, you're going to see those images. You're going to give me a brief description of what you see because she's going to be talking over you and she can't hear you. So we're going to keep it brief. 2 people, bench, tree. If she's not talking, I will ask you directly and I'll say, hey, Kelly, give me what's the time period of the 2 people on the bench.
Okay.
You know, I will give you probing questions and ask you directly so you know that they're coming straight to you. So kind of keep that in mind.
And am I just saying all the words that
Literally everything you hear, including yes, no. Reason
Okay.
why? Because you don't know what the hell I'm asking. I might ask our ghost if I'm wearing a black vest. I am expecting you to say yes. Does that make sense?
Yep.
We will stay in nice and tight because any event another tour or even passers-by walk through here, I don't like to have other tourists stealing my idea or going, what the hell is Nick up to now? I don't have a whole lot of friends in this industry in case you guys couldn't tell. I you ever used VR before?
Yes.
Okay.
It was terrifying. After that was Silent Hill.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't even get through the first tutorial.
This is not going to be in that.
That's why I asked you. It was gonna be scary.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I just can't see far away, so I'll be able to see this.
This will be fine. I don't know if you noticed, but at the top of your device, you have a little dial.
Me?
Me.
Kelly.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm trying to set this up. You see the little dial at the top?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is your focus.
Okay.
So you will move that to where you're gonna see, see the stars.
Yeah.
You'll see an image just show up in front of that. Do not look down because it gives you the menu. We don't want to mess with it.
Okay.
So just look straight ahead and it'll align with you. So I'm gonna slide that in there. Just as a quick little reminder, your dial is right there. Okay.
So I should focus it right at first thing, right?
Yeah, and you might even have an image already.
Quiet down.
Fine.
This is gonna
Look
be done.
straight ahead. Don't look down so you don't mess with the menu.
There you go.
This is like
Okay,
sliding
Bonnie,
off.
you're good.
Oh, okay.
Blindfold up. And
Yeah.
the minute you get those headphones on, do not get your volume set and leave it alone.
Okay, where am I?
Does that help out?
Is this supposed to slide off with this?
It's just I use it every day. So,
No, not your dial is not on the on the phone. Yep.
you got something ready?
I'm trying to figure out how to.
Make sure she can't hear me. Bonnie.
Well, I heard my name, but
Still there?
Bonnie. What color is a blue banana? Perfect. See, I always ask some random question. Okay, we're looking to speak with Henry Timrod. Henry, did you bring somebody else here with you tonight? We're just going to cut to the
certified.
chase. Okay. Yeah, just take this. 'Cause she may escalate. It is 11:20. So that's like Henry, who else did you bring here with you? You had the name Joe come through. Did you bring the good doctor with you? Henry? Are you angry because I didn't go into our first question?
I wasn't sure why.
Because I didn't ask about your occupation? Are you mad because I did not ask that question? Henry? Henry Timrod.
Beautiful.
Do I need to read some of your poetry to kind of roll you over here? Give you a little bit of recognition? Henry? Now you guys can see why I choose a person that's been listening to what
Can't save this.
Henry, we're using both boxes tonight. You don't need to bring one easily. Just get close to it. How it works.
Executive Vice President.
That's why I didn't
Students.
start. Henry, do you want to talk about some of your students that you once had? Do you want to tell us who some of your students were?
Second one.
Actually, how he met his wife. So you guys know, she was a student because she was 16 years old when they met. Henry, let's talk about your wife. I've already started. I'm sure you can hear me. Any image you want to get to
Preferred partner.
your partner? Very good.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
You guys wouldn't be laughing if Mickey was relevant here now, would you? Preferred partner. Can you tell us your wife's name? What was your wife's name? I'll even take her last name.
Three. The issue.
What was your wife's last name?
I don't know.
You do know what your wife's last name is. What's your wife's last name? Her maiden name. we've had interactions in here, just so you know, with your camera.
If you scroll down,
I'm looking around.
Henry, can you give us an image
learn more.
in the green box? I know you prefer males to be sitting here. That seems to be the general consensus. If you can give Kelly at least one image, it would be great. Make it something silly. Don't care if you make it stupid. Something. We just want verification that you're here. Dr. Ladd, if you're here and you need to make your presence known, I would say tonight, just because you gave us your first name already, that you are welcome here tonight. Let's get something else further. We need verification. I need to know who I'm talking to. This is why we use all of these pieces of technology.
Not the safest way to do it.
Mm.
Guess what? It's the only way that we know how to do it. So let's get back to some of those specific questions about your two gentlemen's lives here. Between Dr. Ladd and Henry. Henry, I asked you about your wife for her name in any shape. Dr. Ladd, if you can give us anything about your presence here. Your address is nearby. Tell us that number.
All time great.
Any images at all inside the green box would be very, very beneficial right now. We're running out of time. We're about halfway through.
If you don't know. Each one is curriculum based.
That's interesting. Yeah, this one getting tighter. Lower your payment. And we're running out of time. You're not giving us any images. Before we fell asleep. We don't have. I tested it. We found that it doesn't have actual service like 4 times today to make sure it's going to work. It works off the magnetometer of your phone. That's how your GPS system works. You do it. Take that training.
23rd.
Of what month? 23rd of what month, Henry?
Give a little bit.
Your son, his death date. 23rd of what month?
March 21st.
Hmm.
23rd of what? Anybody do the math of what month that would be? Anybody good at math and dates? He was born on Christmas Eve. The October 23rd. Death of his son. Giving us all kinds of weirdness tonight.
Carry on.
Okay, we're moving past that. Okay. Doesn't matter what we talk about his son. Going back to your wife. Or if you want to talk about your work, I'm okay with that too. With Dr. Ladd, you're here. I need more. Kind of get through this. I want to see who's actually here. We're down to 2 minutes, gentlemen. No images whatsoever. Disappointing. But for sure, one of you will be coming through the green box tonight. going once. Stop there for a second and ask Henry, what sound are we hearing out of the church right now? What's the sound we're hearing?
Treatments are available.
Henry, what sound did we just hear out of the church? Okay, gentlemen, going once, going twice. Let's go ahead and tap her out. Kelly, let's peel that thing off your face. I want to make sure, like, this thing will glitch every once in a while where it will provide an image that you just don't get to see.
That's
So
fun.
I want to see if that actually happens. How long do you think you were under, Connie?
I think you said we were doing it for 10 minutes.
Oh, how did it feel?
It felt really quick.
I kind of wanted to keep going, to be honest. It was kind of fun.
No images.
Please tell me, oh, Mickey, I'm so fine and something.
Did not.
I'm like, what?
Not a thing. Not a thing.
It's really funny.
So I'm gonna count this. I mean, we had a couple of like very specific things that popped up, but they weren't like verifying each other. That's the problem for me.
Oh, okay.
So like you
Anything
said-
with students and curriculum, because it kind of went together.
kind of yes.
23rd.
So in a nutshell, we were trying to get a hold of this writer, and he actually met his wife, and she was a student of his.
Oh.
So that's where I was kind of like with the students, and then curriculum, and then when I said you want to talk about your wife, and then you said second, and then I said what about the second, and you said preferred partner. So
Oh.
so was it like his second affair with one of his students was his preferred partner because he ended up marrying her? I don't know. So that's kind of, and then you said the number. You said the 23rd.
23rd.
And the gentleman's son died on October 23rd. So I was asking you what month of the 23rd are you referring to? Hopefully,
I think that's when you said.
March.
March 21st.
March 21st.
You said,
I think it was a commercial.
you said March. I'm like, oh no. But then you said 21st.
you
I'm
do
like,
have
oh,
a
okay.
button next to your volume. Can you click the button in the opposite direction to make sure that we stop the recording?
Oh, this one right here?
Yep. Got it. No, click, like slide it.
Slide it that way.
Oh, got it.
Got it. Perfect.
Okay.
Stop recording as well?
Yep. With all
Yeah.
the commotion.
Noise.
So your baseline in here, Sherry, is going to start at an 8. The reason why is we do have 2 lamp posts nearby. I want to make sure like what we have is legit. That normally gives me like a 6 to a 7, so I'm jumping straight to the 8. So again, we're going to keep you on mute while we're here. That other tour that's down there may come up this way because we can't actually go all the way through. I'll explain. I've actually been kicked out of here. That's the fun part of the story. But when they do come through, we'll just kind of split the seas and we'll let them pass. Their group will be staring at you. Remember, you have the blinky light devices. They do not. So kind of keep that in mind. You are the
They
weirdo.
booked the wrong tour.
Talking about the
Yeah.
devil.
I don't like to call this a tour. Actually, the hashtag is not a ghost tour.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that's kind of
They
that's my
booked the
shtick.
wrong experience.
Exactly. No, we can say they're on a tour. Look at the size of them guys. They're all, that tour guide is probably screaming to be able to get to all of them. So I'll kind of stall until they get past, so that way we're not kind of doing the whole thing.
Belly level.
And you guys will see how large a tour group actually looks like here in Charleston and why I only go to 10. And 10 is the weekend, 12 is during the week. So, and I cut it back on the weekends. So it doesn't really make sense on a business sense, but I don't like to add to the chaos. So you're good. I'm so sorry. No, you're fine. You're good. You're good.
I didn't know my 21 pace, but I've been really good.
As soon as he starts.
Went around fast.
What did I say? You'll have to fancy your shoes. Yes, they do.
No bill.
What?
Or goes by the old jailhouse. That would be the most.
Thanks for leaving.
You know, I'm liking this. I'm liking this because it's like what just passed here is like the people in the back. It's
Guess
like
how many-
nothing.
How many people were in my group?
20?
More than 20.
Oh, you
About
said they can only have
more
20,
than 20,
right?
yeah.
I counted 37.
I remember the one girl was like, what? They have machines.
Yeah, she says,
Anybody here?
That's what family
Bonnie
happens.
said yes.
So let's talk about why we're here. Just listening for where the hell that bird's coming from.
There's so many birds here.
Coming there.
It's that time of year. We get a lot of like whippoorwills and then this experiment will come through, and they make a lot of noise too. Yep. By our corner where we started, we get a lot of bats. So it's like the perfect corner for me, right?
Yeah.
So this, everybody, is Philadelphia Alley. So this used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur. I don't know if you guys heard all the chitter chatter about those people walking by, but this
I
is,
did, yeah.
so some of the duels used to occur here, and I say it slowly like that is because dueling was illegal in colonial days. They actually had to find hiding spots. This just happened to be one of them. So let's kind of get into, we all tell the same damn story at this location. This was the one I was looking to take out this year because I do change this up and take out one space and add a new one. But this guy follows me around all over the place. You guys are going to see that. Obviously to the next location and then our last location. He'll come through on that one too, and I'll explain that once we get there. I'm just going to give you a few extra details because you're ghost hunting. You need those extra details, especially for communication. So here's how this goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the event that Kevin hears the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name. We get it all the time. Just kind of keep that in mind. Now, Doc moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiance, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of him. So he comes here to Charleston to prove that he's not. Now, on his way into town, he had a coachman that set him up to be robbed and killed. It's like having a really bad Uber driver, by the way, if you really think about it in today's terms. So, there's a gunman inside the house, but somebody was walking by and seeing like this coachman's trying to kill the newcomer, and the person walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs. I say his name slowly because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. We were getting the letters RI all the time on a regular spirit box, so I bought a new device. It's called an Envoy, but it basically acts like a digital Ouija board. It uses EMF, and anytime there's a spike, it gives us a letter. I wanted to make sure I was getting the exact letters. We've had it about half a dozen times. We're not using that device tonight, because again, that's one of the last things I bring out because it's not always productive. But we've had it about half a dozen times in the past year, just so you have that inkling of thought of how that thing actually works. Now, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Why don't you come with me? I got friends at 59 Church Street, and you can stay there and you'll be safe. Well, Doc took him up on the offer, and now they're friends. And the longer the doctor stays here, by the way, you want your camera pointed not directly on me. You want to kind of, you can even like grab that top handle pole and just kind of hold it down so you don't have to, there you go. I mean, just be relaxed with it. Yep, all natural. You got this. Where was I? Oh, the doctor is, you know, he's doing pretty well for himself. He's making his own money, and Amanda gets wind of this. So she's coming down so they could be married. Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor. And what kind of spoils it is those 37 people that just walked by you all start whistling whenever they start walking past me. And like, you're kind of spoiling the big, you know, reveal. However, I hate this story because a whistling ghost is a giant cliche. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a whistling ghost. Ours just happens to be a doctor, and there's some legitimacy to this. I'm going to get to that. But anyway, Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other. Reason why, doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston, everybody. That's kind of how it goes here. Anyway, that was in the 1700s, not so much about that now. But at any rate, so they're talking about this play one night, Richard III on their way home, and Dr. Ladd thought the new actress that they just saw was fantastic. Well, Ralph didn't think so. They start arguing, and then Ralph is then insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island, Amanda. So it got really ugly, they go their separate ways, but Ralph has friends around town. He goes to the friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality. We're going to let this kind of come through. She's friendly. I thought you were bringing us coffee.
Oh, well, you know, had I planned ahead, I would have.
I know, right?
We were gonna like sort around you, but I appreciate it.
You're fine, you're fine.
How's it going?
Good, good. You're just in time. The larger group's just left.
Thank you. I was like, I think we're gonna go to Philadelphia. Did you do a 7?
So, where was I? Oh, the newspaper, right?
Yes.
Doc saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Duelers Alley. We're going to settle this shit. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind that this argument started over an actress. Really dumb. Anyway, they came down here, they back to back, 10 paces out. They turned, the doctor points his gun in the air and shot his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up, which is often what happened at a duel. If you've seen Hamilton, you already know that shit. Now, Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doc didn't die. Fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment on November 2nd of 1786. I'm going to point out two things. First off, it's 1786. Gunshot wounds back then, a lot different than what we know of them now, right? He's also a doctor. Tried to bleed it out himself because he probably just thought he had lead poisoning. He just failed because he died. Now, every ghost tour that comes on here tells you to listen for the whistles. You hear how quiet it is right now, aside from them talking and me? It's always this quiet. It could be a Saturday afternoon, and East Bay Street is bustling. You will not hear it over here. We're actually, 2 blocks away from Henry's? We don't hear it over here. It's always this quiet. Keep in mind, if you're going to try this on your own, and you walk all the way through here with your voice recorders on your phone, anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street, we all know the story. They're going to throw a whistle down the alley the same way that tour did as they walked by us. But at the same time, with what we're doing here right now, we have 2 cameras running plus my voice recorder. If we're going to capture a whistle, more than likely it's going to be on one of those 3 devices. However, Kevin's Spirit Box, can't tell you how many times, literally dozens upon dozens of times, we get the whistling part of a song and the word doctor immediately after. Like dozens of times. Doc's birthday shows up here all the time too. I'm not going to tell you what that is. There's other things about the doctor that I'm not revealing just yet, just to see if it's going to show up through Spirit Boxes at our next location. Now, let's get into the fun part of the story of how I got kicked out of here, because I always throw a whistle down this alley, ever since I got thrown out, especially just to mess with these other guys. Now, the alley, the way we came in, there used to be a wall up there, long before it was Dueler's Alley, so pre-1786. So the wall was about halfway between where we're standing and Cumberland Street. The reason why is because this used to be called Cow Alley. This is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. Cows, goats, and chickens were all down in here. So just kind of picture this thing flooded with a bunch of livestock. The reason why I'm telling you this is because the bricks down the other side are older than the ones we're standing on. Those bricks down there are sun-dried bricks from slave children. They have a full handprint from a slave child down in one of those bricks and fingerprint swipes in others. I used to take my groups down there for a history lesson. Nothing paranormal about it. I treat that brick the way I do a grave. That kid is not there. November 26th, 2020. My entire group of 10 is huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen with the devices that I gave them. I'm trying to shoo them along simply because I know nothing's going to happen, and we're standing outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful, not realizing we were out of bounds for tours. Yeah. That new owner of that mansion came out. He was screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she's on a tour that night and Dad's getting screamed at. She was all about it. She's cool with this. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work on Thanksgiving. Reason why? I worked in upper management for Walmart for over 10 years. You guys like to fight over towels on Thanksgiving and have scarred me for life. I will never work another Thanksgiving for as long as I live. The next day was the 28th of November. I called my partner that I had at the time and I told him what happened with the neighbor, and he laughed just like my daughter did. And he's like, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. Otherwise, it's considered residential. You got to reroute your group that night. It's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. So I told my group that night, I'm a vampire guy. I'm not into pirates. Like, we're obviously discussing pirates next. Before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. Like, well, shit, maybe we're going to get something. I've never had anything prior to this night actually happen over there. So we get over there. I told them the little bit I did know about piracy. Remember, I didn't have much time. Somebody else with a spirit box heard the number 300. I didn't know what it meant. I wrote it down. I did the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So I normally get the head nods and the, oh, that's cool shit. I was actually pissed. I have a master's degree in creative writing, which means all of my other degrees are also in writing. When I'm doing this, like especially like data and research, I need like facts and data. Like I can't go off of pirate lore, because pirate lore is basically a story that was written 100 years after the days of Blackbeard. So if that kind of gives you the idea of why I have such a problem with piracy. However, I've read more books on pirates, I've watched more documentaries on pirates, I've even played video games on pirates, just to get different versions of the story.
Yep.
Everything we're about to go through, and he knows exactly what game I'm talking about too, don't you? What do you think I'm playing?
Black Flag.
Black Flag.
Black Flag.
You know, I think I got 160 hours in that damn game. Oh my god. I'm an Assassin's Creed junkie, by the way.
I was about to say you better be
Black
Assassin's
Flag was
Creed
the
too,
best.
then.
I'm on 3 right now. I'm actually working my way backwards. So I started off with Odyssey, and I'm working
Valhalla's my favorite.
Valhalla's
I don't like it.
I don't know. Everything about it just creeps
I'm
me
so
to me.
sorry. I mean, this to turn into a mini-game conversation.
I have a sweatshirt that says Valhalla with me.
That's okay. Black Flag was the best by far.
Honestly, my biggest is Odyssey.
Okay.
I'm a
second
Greek mythology
to Valhalla.
buff, though. Like, I knew every damn character, and then I played Phoenix Immortals almost immediately after. And it was kind of like,
And that's why I like Valhalla, because they included the gods.
yeah,
A lot of those gods in
right,
the dream.
the Norse gods.
Oh, yeah, Norse.
Yeah, so that's not in my wheelhouse. I think that's probably why I didn't get into it. Plus, I thought that the character was super slow. Like, I was like, what the hell? Especially after going from Alexios to that guy, I'm like, what the hell's happening here? Anybody else smell vinegar?
Yeah, I
Yes.
did smell vinegar.
Yes.
Super weird. Just kind of came out of nowhere. But anyway, so I think that about covers it for this. Oh, the gate before we leave the space. Did you see any spikes, by the way?
None at all.
Okay. Kevin, did you hear anything?
No.
Wait, so did they
got a very
find
low
anything around the handprint?
No.
Oh.
And you never will. Why?
Okay.
Because that kid's with baby mama somewhere, wherever
Oh,
they're
no,
at,
I
wherever
was
they're
just, I
headed.
thought the story was leading up
Nope.
to something.
Well, it was leading up to the guy throwing, like,
Oh,
basically filing a
okay.
complaint, and I was in the
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah.
I just didn't know
So
what the hell I
don't
was
go
doing.
all the way down.
Yeah, not with me anyway.
Okay.
So, the gate. Notice that the wrought iron looks a lot newer than the archway itself.
Yes.
Now, I already told you that this alley didn't go all the way through that way. The reason why I bring this up is because if there's a loser to the duel behind me, this is the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall. Otherwise, they gotta walk all the way down to the edge of the alley to Queen Street and then double back to drop off the dead body. I call this the Death Gate. The wrought iron was probably put there in the early 1900s, if I know my wrought iron at all here in Charleston, but the archway is definitely part of the original wall. I just have to point it out because not a whole lot of people actually know why it's here. We don't get any paranormal activity from it. It's just a fun little nugget of history from Charleston. Now, are we ready to go learn about some rated R pirates?
Yeah.
Nobody got my dad joke? I'm gonna take it up a notch if you didn't. Perfect. So if a pirate's favorite letter is an R, what is it?
Or
Oh.
If it's not R, what is it?
booty.
Letter.
Letter.
Wow. Oh, this is cool. You guys don't get it. It must be the C.
Oh.
Actually, I told this joke last night, the night before, and the girl actually had a better answer. You know, I said, okay, if a pirate's favorite letter is an R, what is it? She goes, I.
I was gonna say I. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna say I.
I was like, that's actually better than
Yeah,
mine.
that's good.
I hear the
All right,
Bible.
let's
bro.
go.
Kevin, did you get anything while we were there?
Unmute. Should I unmute?
Yes, you can unmute along the way.
And stop recording.
That's up to you. We're only going up and around the corner. So there's cameras. If you want to stop, relax, you can. If not, keep it rolling.
I like the camera rolling. You see what I'm getting? What if somebody's walking around them? What if you brought your own ghost with them?
Maybe.
I like
BYOG,
it.
bring your own ghost.
I like this.
Yeah,
Just
way better than the
information.
Savannah.
Like you can see the other people that pass by. You could tell the
Yeah.
whole group is not learning anything
Yeah.
because everybody's just about just talking,
We paid for it for over here.
right? You just like more interactive and you kind of like
Yeah.
get to
It's
learn
like a
and then
small
think about it.
group.
Yeah.
It smells like fuel.
I mean, come on, Cal. You see where you at?
I know.
No bathroom.
True.
Ain't
Kind of asking
ain't no
for it.
shame in the game.
They're kind of asking for it, you know?
Oh yeah.
My, back is
Hmm?
my back is hurting.
Go back. Why?
I don't know. Partially because of my purse, 'cause, like I'm trying to like keep it on my shoulder.
Can you hold it? Yeah, hold it.
I appreciate it.
there's a filter on this that's supposed to like dampen it.
Okay.
So if the volume isn't pushing through that filter enough, then you're not going to get a whole lot. That should be a little bit better, but we are going to mute you while we get through this history. We will be able to spread out once we're get through the history of this location. I will breeze through this one as quickly as I can. Dude, that purse is like perfect on you, by the way. So, sorry. I carry a man purse too. Like normally, I always have like.
Her
my
back
man
is hurting,
bag.
so I'm just carrying that for her.
How much going?
I have like several canvas bags because I keep my medications with me all the time.
Yeah.
So, and then of course there's paranormal gear in there too. So, you guys get it. But anyway, so this location has a lot of information. So I'm going to breeze through it as quickly as I can so we can get everybody back to work. And it seems like our loud other tour that was walking by looks like she's wrapped up, so she'll be out of our way, which is good. And there's no cars, so beauty on us. We are here because of that little tiny building right there. This one I'm going to take a break from the bag because there's still about 15 pounds left in there. So that little building right there has them crosses on it. Those are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. If you don't know what an earthquake bolt is, it's basically a turnbuckle. We have them all over Charleston. I know you guys are only stopping by. It's part of our Charleston charm. So the turnbuckle is in the events that we get another earthquake, like what I told you about in 1886, you can tighten them, and it tightens the building, so that way it doesn't incur further damage. It's a great idea, and it's dumb and doesn't work. So the reason I bring these ones up is because it's part of the reason why we're here. Those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. The reason why, that is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We're here because this building was being constructed at the same time and Bonnie was coming here to start her new life. This is what I call a familiar. You guys all watch the TV shows and you've probably seen the Boo Buddy. Does everybody know what I'm talking about with that?
Nope.
It's the teddy bear with the blinky light device in there. So if a child comes near it, it says, ooh, that tickles, and lights up. So it's basically the whole point of that device is because the child would recognize it as a toy. So think of that concept with this building. We don't have many buildings this old. We're rolling the dice here as if she's going to be here at the same time we are or not. I can almost put a 99% chance that we're going to come in contact with Eliza every single night in some way, shape, or form. I can't do that here because we do have some other buildings in the same era, but she would recognize this building. Hopefully she recognizes we're a nice small group tonight and she's going to come by and say hello. However, the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? No, not at all. That was a joke, guys. Lighten up. So, the history begins right in the middle of that building's construction in 1708. Try to follow me at the beginning. There's a couple of twists. I will slow down on those twists and speed through everything else. Is that fair? Perfect. So, young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Everybody with me? Basically, he had a girlfriend and had an illegitimate child. Got it? Now, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was that wife that she kicked him out of the damn country in 1708? There's no planes, gentlemen. Be nice to your ladies. So, with that, they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach, about halfway. So Dad bought a plantation in Georgetown, but Mom died pretty quickly. So that means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from that plantation to help keep things afloat. So hence the familiar building. That's why hopefully we're going to capture here. So take a step back to Ireland for just a second. I'd like to give you the mentality of this young lady as we kind of go through her whole history. Now, back home in Ireland when she was only 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, nothing is exact, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Just kind of giving you her badass attitude as we kind of move forward. The building's done. 2 years after that, 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Reason why, she's going to fall in love with one of these dudes so that way she can earn her freedom. You hear the word liberty. So, you get my point. I was kind of like, all right, maybe we got something going on there. Just like a man. It is a man's world at this point, and that's all she wants, is freedom just like a man. So the first guy she fell in love with, and I said that one slowly because there's a handful of these gentlemen. We're going to go through them all. That's what makes the story so damn interesting. The first guy is James Bonney. You already know where this one's going, right? So Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica and got married. And Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where her pirate name came from. However, when she gets down there, she realizes her new husband is not the Captain Jack Sparrow like she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. It means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again. Guy number 2. John Rackham. Everybody calls this guy Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of. So you guys should recognize some of these characters from Black Flag, by the way. I think all of them, including Steve Bonnet at the very beginning, the sugar plantation owner. He's actually from here. So I don't know if you guys knew that or not. The gentleman pirate. But anyway, back to Jack. Jack has his own ship. and he has his own crew and wants to be part of that crew. Can't put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why you can't do that?
Isn't it bad luck?
It is bad luck. Thank you for keeping it family friendly. Kudos to you. And he's like, thank God my mother-in-law kept it. I seen that look on his face.
I'm sorry, but I thought that's what I heard.
It is. It's bad luck.
I was just thinking that time wasn't allowed.
Well, I get some really
bad
dirty
luck
answers
wasn't
to
allowed.
that.
The same thing.
Oh, you have all these.
That's
Yeah.
where I was.
Seems like a bad idea, you know?
Well, normally I throw that question out there to groups that I'm not really sure are paying attention to me speed talking through this, so I make sure I stop and ask a question. You can see, like, obviously linguistics are a big deal with me. Back to it's bad luck. He makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland. She gets it. It's a man's world. But we're all adults here. Put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in Jack's quarters, guys. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a guy. She's a guy, right? So before she starts to show her pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby over there. These are friends of mine. They'll help you out. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby, returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. None of my research has ever found it. If you ask that question while we're out and about and you get an answer, it's personal to you because I can't prove it. She also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. He's going to know he let a girl on a ship. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured down below deck, guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like males on the same ship. Her name, Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. I'm trying to think if Mary was in the story. Yeah, actually she was. So you guys are getting the point on this. Sorry, I'm like trying to think of all the damn characters from the games that we've all played together.
So she fell in love with the woman?
Now, they were friends for sure, possibly lovers. There was no way to tell. Obviously the time frame and the romantic writing that came 100 years after, there was really no way to tell. So, you just proved my next point. Now, these 2 are obviously friends, and the British find out where this pirate ship is. They send a whole fleet of Navy ships after one pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bullet and flintlocks. They don't know how to use cannon jets because they have not been pirates for very long. So, obviously 2 ladies with 1 bullet guns cannot take on a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested, and as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain in boat, Jack, and says, I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog. So, with that said, the judge wants to see, but the word dog shows up a lot for us, and we even get dogs barking. It's a very interesting piece. And it comes up on spirit boxes, so take that for what it's worth. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front of this judge and reveal their gender. He doesn't give a damn that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. So they scream out, we plead our bellies, meaning they are claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman back then. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails her out and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know for sure. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't know jack shit about her after her pirate career.
No.
So, Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. You can use your imagination on that one. Most books will tell you that it was something simple like fever. I'm going to say call it scurvy, make it romantic. So, I'm trying to like pinpoint the point in the story. The plead our bellies part was when things started intervening in black sails. So that's where they kind of took over that part of Anne Bonny's life, and she became obviously quartermaster to Kenway. So that's kind of how that whole story unveiled. She did have a different life after we plead our bellies to the judge. So in this location, I'm not going to control everything like I did over at Pinckney Mansion site. You can ask whatever the hell you want to in here. I usually tell my folks, if you smoke and drink rum, by all means, go for it. So it'll probably attract her. With this location, just so you know, Cole, this wall is not your friend. It's covered in leaves. It's going to look like army men. Spirit box people. Yep, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Your questions, I'm not going to control what questions you guys ask, but I will tell you a few things that I left out on purpose, just so you have something to start off with. I didn't tell you the name of Anne Bonny's parents, the father and the mistress. I do know what they are. The name of the city where Anne grew up in Ireland, the color of her hair, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. Those are the 4 questions that I normally throw out to my people, and that's for everybody. So ask whatever the hell you want to. If you want to ask about the baby and it becomes a conversation, just let me know what the conversation is. Especially if you get like more than one solid answer that seems very conversational. It could be a definitive answer. I might not be able to prove it, but I'll write down conversational piece, 2 points kind of mentality. So I have a scoring system of how I actually do this, yes. And Bonnie's like, really? Yeah. you're gonna see my name in lights probably by the end of the year. Anyway, so we will spread out. I actually get excited about a 2.5 in here, just so you know.
Oh.
We normally don't see
It hasn't done anything.
Now, the closer you go that way, towards the bushes, and there's 2 electrical poles, you have parking meters on the other side. You're gonna probably see a 4 to a 7.
Fair game over there.
Fair game. I mean, it's Tor's leaving. He doesn't stay here long. He's actually pretty cool. But yeah, fair game, the whole place. But I would say the closer you are to the bushes, unless you get like a 12 or a 15 or something even higher than that, that's the only time I'm going to get excited. The highest we've ever seen here, I want to say, is like a 12, and it was almost back out. And that was just maybe a month ago. Because, I mean, I've been coming here since I told you guys, November 28th, 2020. So it tells you how long I've been coming here. Let's get you unmuted. Let's get you guys working. Kevin's already on it. He's already in trance state.
I know. I was gonna say he looks like he's like.
He's all over it. We do got two, and I'm gonna do you guys with the next one.
Already turned our volume up.
Yes. I really want to go here.
Yeah.
Just a little bit slow. Looks like a person standing.
Yeah. Now that sounded like a man, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. So we can ask questions, some of the names of the people. Give us some names.
Better now, Bonnie?
Yeah, we actually thought we heard a man's voice this time, but we couldn't make out what it was saying.
Yeah, deep voice.
Yeah, deep voice.
Yeah, on this
Well-
one, it will pick up more disembodied than the one that
See,
Kevin
it was
did.
like a man.
And standing back there was more like a tall figure, like a man standing like this.
Was it the same height of the building?
No,
Okay.
no, just like from like there, but standing back there.
Remember, there's some foliage in there too. Got a lot of layers. I'll take a look. As long as you were recording, I'll take a look. Or if it's not there, it's not there.
Yes.
I hope you guys appreciate my
That's
honesty.
Kevin.
No. Of course.
The man, the land, hips and thighs.
Give us some names. Color hair. Place in Ireland. Talk to us.
Bourbon, beer, or wine.
Say something clear so we can make it out.
You having fun?
You know how bathroom session is?
Who was your favorite lover?
You got quiet. I thought we lost Kevin. Anything weird going on at camp? Camping.
What's the name? Say it again. ask her some questions?
I was just trying to get her to come stand next to me.
We can't make out anything.
I was just asking her what happened to the baby. I also
What's the
told her
color hair? It's pretty bad.
if she would have lived today, she could have had her own company. It just wasn't fair. You know, man's world, women can't be equal.
By the way, that's the other reason right there. He shuts his eyes every time.
Land of the king forever. Pay for vacation.
You had the word king twice. I'm actually very excited. It is not that heavy.
No, because of the way that I'm standing, like I'm holding it up.
Says the man carrying
I know, right?
I know.
I mean, that's heavier than a normal cell phone because it has a battery pack.
It's just because I'm just standing like this, like
Trying to make good footage for yourself.
yeah, it's okay.
Alright, we got anything going on with you guys? Telling nothing? And you gotta give us
It's the first time we've heard a male's voice was here. We have not heard a male the whole time. That I will say.
It's a deep voice.
It was a deep voice. We definitely heard a male this time. First time the whole night.
And we'll give you another minute or two. You gotta either make your presence known, you know the questions we ask, get your shit together, let's do this. Sorry, she's not a prominent English woman, guys. You gotta dig her in the shins a little bit. There you go. Guess didn't get anything from Dr. Ladd over here either. Getting dips and dives, I'm waiting for the need.
I've got no higher than 0.3. And I was asking questions.
Man, I swear I almost jumped. I'm glad you told me about my shadow. Because-
Pick up every time. I normally, like, if I get little kids in the group that really know what this equipment is, like, I'm excited to give them this because, first off, I already told y'all that disclaimers about, you know, recording video while we're out and about. But a little kid with a tablet, especially one that looks like that,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
nobody's going to question it. And the little kid is like, there's a person on the ground. Look. I get it all the time. It's so funny.
Remove or move?
Remove.
Remove your mouth.
Maybe Ann doesn't like the way I'm talking to her.
Yellow.
Like, normally that's...
And this is my husband
That's just
who's holding this black thing. Do you want to flirt with him?
kind of get her going. I didn't see that yelling at her.
I was just trying to relate to her.
But look at the company she kept.
Do you think my husband's attractive?
Now, why does she kick your butt now?
Okay, now it's fine. There's somebody over there looking all like heavy. I thought they were wearing a bunnies.
Where you guys from?
That's definitely moving.
Florida.
Florida. Maryland. Originally Maryland. I've been in Florida.
And who's more attractive, my husband or your husband? And if so, which husband?
So, based on wherever my wife gets accepted to the school,
What was it, Dave?
just I had to pick two.
Who's more attractive, your first husband or your second husband? What did your first husband look like?
She's leaning towards Florida. I told her I'd much rather go to New Orleans. Sometimes have some voodoo friends. Yes.
We do have some activity to look at people with.
Yeah, but we vacation sometimes. Alright, anything else weird going on?
We were just asking her who was more attractive, her first or her second husband, and what her Did you like Mary better than the men?
I'll just say try this one. See if you can maybe hear more than I'm not hearing.
Just missing. It's there.
Like I noticed that like there's some things out here. I'm like, is that because it just sounds so freaking like
I don't know what I'm listening for.
Just tell me whatever you hear. If you hear a voice, tell me what it says.
You know, it was something about I look older or I look older.
Is that thing recorded?
That one records you. So no matter.
So all
You have
the
to
stuff that
listen really
Kevin
hard on
missed.
that
you-
one.
Yeah.
Because
So-
it'll just jump out.
I listen to minute 1, minute 5, minute 10, minute 15, and I just go through the whole recording that way. So
Okay.
I'm not looking to validate anything that you guys hear. I look to add to. That's why I kind of give that little like, hey, I won't accept like things like get out, you're gonna die kind of bullshit, like
Yeah.
TV crap.
Do people try to tell you that's
Oh
what
yeah,
they say?
all the time. Especially like, we'll just say teens between like 16 and 19 that are obsessed with Sam and Colby. Yeah. It just said get out. No, it didn't. Try again. If I ask you grossly, hey, do you want us to go home, and we get the word stop or home or something like that, then I take that as a direct answer. And that's just why I got the question. It's just that.
You have to ask questions, Kevin.
Okay,
Oh, you're just quiet. My bad. Are they gonna hear you?
Probably.
Do we have to be like?
you can just focus on them. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Like, I've already asked the questions by handing them up to you.
It's appealing.
Get something.
It's like, what are you doing out there?
Should probably get closer to this building. Let's kind of move over this way while. Alright, so I guess I should explain a few things. I'm actually really excited about the word king, especially the fact that it's spelled twice. Just turn the volume down. I'll explain the word king as I kind of cover the answers, but there's a couple of things about this. You guys with your cameras can go ahead and hit stop.
Is there a reason why when we first stepped in here,
Oh,
it
yes.
should
Thank
have
you.
been
So we can hear.
19.4?
So,
Do I unmute?
not yet.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go through the history first. So EMF, we already seen an 8.2, right?
Yeah,
And
but
then a
when we
19.4.
stepped in here, it was 19.4.
Okay, so let me explain both of those. So the 19.4, depending on how far away you were from the sidewalk, our parking meter electrical lines are underneath the sidewalks. They normally would like make that thing go to like a 6 to an 8. So I normally will tell you in between spaces, ignore your numbers. That's why when you were over there and you started to get something, as soon as you hit the street, you have all of those transformers over there and all kinds of things that were kind of like giving you a quick 8.2 or 8.1, whatever the number was. The 19, I'm not going to write down just yet because the parking meters wouldn't make it go that high. But this space has an average, and there's no electricity in here, by the way. All of
It hit that after we came through.
you came through.
Like right about there.
Okay, so I'm definitely going to count it because you were definitely far away from.
Somebody's daughter.
Is that what you just heard? Somebody's daughter? Okay. So we're already underway. This should be an interesting piece. So I'll take that 19, but the average space, this one is about an 18 to 22. That's astronomical for being outdoors for a haunted space, just so you know. You're not going to find those kind of numbers in most of the other locations we're going to be visiting. But 18 to 22 is the average. But that thing measures electricity, so let me kind of give you a point of reference. Your TV set gives you about a 40 to 60 milligauss when it's running. Okay, so if you were to put that behind your TV, 40 to 60, depending on what's plugged in. Secondly, your microwave. Heating up your food is about 150 to 170. Okay, so that's pretty high EMF if you're standing right next to it. The highest I've ever seen that device go, I've seen it go like to 170s, 190s at this location. But just a few weeks ago, it actually errored out. This thing only goes to 200. I told you, I don't know if I did tell you yet, but the little blinky light one that I showed you that we're not using only goes to 25.
Oh.
That's why we don't use it.
Mm.
So when it aired out, we left. It did it 3 times and stayed in the triple digits. So it's like between 125 to like 190. That makes me a little worried because I actually have epilepsy. There's too much electricity in the air for the guy with the neurological disorder. So you guys can see, like, she's my safety director at this point. So that's why I said I usually have one of those out for safety. This is kind of my go-to one. So let's talk about this crazy parking lot while we're here. We're down to how many cars now since one just left? 3. So when we do spread out after I give you the history, we're going to stay away from those vehicles. That means going in front of them, going all the way around them. You guys are getting the point. People get really funny about us being over here. We're the weirdos, by the way.
Okay.
In case you guys were wondering where they were at tonight, you're them. At this place, by the way, communication devices. So that would be, well, I've got everything mixed up now. So Bonnie and Kevin at this point, I will not be giving you questions like what we did over there, like what color is George Washington's white horse. I will start withholding information starting now. So that's why you're going to tell me all the silly things that you hear. So what is this place? This used to be, well, it's a parking lot, congrats, but it used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion actually sat in the front of the space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with 5 Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. So who the hell were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues. In the event you hear the name Charles, I need a secondary clue so I know how to address that specific Charles. Does that make sense now? Mm-hmm. Again, it's not about one thing that you heard and Zach goes, oh shit, we have a demon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's not a thing, right? So let's move on. By the way, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. We're going to move on. If I don't give them that recognition, you guys were asking me about nasty messages, they'll do it. I've heard it several times, and they are disembodied, and I actually have the software to be able to analyze how many radio stations that thing swept over to be able to give us one full message from one voice. The highest one I have is 13. That's a lot of radio stations to be able to hear.
A lot of songs that I know.
Yeah, of course you are. Okay. Yeah. But those disembodied voice messages, I haven't had one in a while. That was menacing, we'll say that. But it kind of made a pact with this place. I'll talk about that later on. Let's move on. Eliza, she has a much better history. Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it that way because if you're going to ask her how old she was, do not expect numbers from the colonial days from when she came from, like 12 and 14 when young ladies got married. Think of today's standards because her husband was over double her age when they married. It was creepy then, creepy now. Now, she married him because her father was over in England, where Eliza's from, at least where her family's from. She wasn't born there. But the father thinks he's dying, and he's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so that he can see them. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. She stayed put, got married. 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry this guy out of love. This is a true love story. There's nothing horrific about this place whatsoever. This is actually a happy place, believe it or not. What do you got?
It's just bouncing around a lot from
How high?
just standing here. It went 3.6 and then it went to 2.4.
Okay.
But I'm just standing here.
Yep. Because she hears us talking.
Yeah.
She's just kind of saying hello, like what's going on. She's
Yeah.
checking you guys out. So, well, Cole, yours was the only name that I didn't give her tonight. I actually walk through here every night on my way to meet you guys and let her know what your names are. It's kind of my pact with her because I actually had to give this place a break. I had some very rude ghost hunters like for several weeks on end, and they were like, come on, Eliza, and then they're taking a leak in the corner, kind of disrespect.
Wow.
So I was getting those nasty messages then, kind of mentality. So I did give it a couple of weeks break and came back and told her, I will let you know how many people I'm bringing and what their names are and that kind of thing. So every night I do that.
8.1.
Yep. There it is. All right, so back to Eliza. She was right. Dad didn't die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant that makes blue dye, makes your blue jeans blue. Kelly's wearing it right now. That's what we use it for. So when she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it going. It's obviously not warm here all the time, guys.
5.4.
So they taught her how to keep it
7.8.
going. We're going to keep your baseline at a 10, so don't tell me anything below
Okay.
below a 10 because you've already had a 19.
Okay.
So when she learned how to make the dye, she moved it to a cash crop, got a hold of Dad, told him that the rice plantations were going downhill. They're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit. That's why you guys are here. So we have 2 communicators out here tonight. So that'll be, I'm going to give you guys focus questions. You can either say these things out loud or you can just focus on them. It's not like Eliza doesn't know what questions we're going to be asking. I want you to also keep in mind that if you're asking questions, your answers can go to either the audio from both cameras, my voice recorder, or Bonnie's device over there. So again, we never know where the answers are going to go, even if it was just 2 people. Let's say I just have Cherie and Cole. I'm still going to have 2 communication pieces, an EMF and a camera. Like, that's just how I roll. If I have to use them, then I have to use them. I like verification. So you're going to focus on Eliza's death. She's pretty open about talking about it, how old she was, or is a common answer we'll get, what she died from, where she's buried, which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So those are the 4 majors. If you ask anything else other than those 4 questions, just be respectful and make sure it's not a yes/no question. Very simple. Bonnie, with yours, you're going to be focused on, can you see a mansion up there? There's no mansion, right? No. Okay. You're going to focus on that. It's obviously not here, so what happened to it is what you're going after. In the event that you get the what happened to it, we will often get 2 or 3 numbers from the exact date of when that tragedy occurred. I just gave you a clue that it was a tragedy that happened to this mansion. So kind of keep that in mind. But I'm talking very specific numbers that will pop up. And remember, he could get them on his end. I love, like he's in trance mode right now. Do you guys see this right now? Like he's going at it. I'm talking about you. So we are going to kind of spread out in here a little bit. We're going to stay away from the vehicles. Have we seen anything crazy on the cameras yet?
No.
Okay. I got to write down these numbers with Cherie. So if everybody else wants to spread out, Bonnie, let's get you unmuted and let's get you guys to work.
And Bonnie has to stay with Cole, right?
Doesn't have to, but I would just say stick with the camera. So go back and forth.
Okay.
So you
You're already on mute?
Because his work is definitely solo with the headset on. So the 3 of you can kind of intermingle.
Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah, it takes a minute to kind of warm up.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of give it a second.
Just make sure I mute.
Just trying.
I can hear it coming. Just
Tap it again for me.
a little bit. I heard it just low. Nothing. Nothing now.
I'm gonna hit it again.
Yeah.
There we
There
go.
we
There you
go.
go. Yeah, yours is slow. It's like
There we go.
All right, so we had a.
it's like coming out of level.
3.8. I heard you say 8.1.
The highest one was the 19.4 when I first walked into the parking lot.
I was trying to get some of those little ones below.
Wait a minute now.
I was trying to remember. I remember 3.8 and then 8.1.
Why is it so
And
little?
a
I know.
14.5.
It's so little.
What is this? Oh, is it the light up there?
You tell me.
Well, he said that the 3 is like
Is it
ahead,
normal
right?
for it to jump around?
So if this was coming from a man-made object, so let's say your cell phone was nearby, and it's giving out a signal to its cell tower. It's going to go like up to like 15 and then go to 12, then 17. It's going to kind
You
of
wanna
hover
look
around
down
that area. For you to get like a 19 and then go down to like nothing, that's not a man-made object.
Right.
Like that's the whole goal of this, is you want
Thinking of
those
the
big
lights.
incremental differences. Like when we were getting those triple digits, it was like 170, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it was a big jump down,
I think
and then
this
it was up
doesn't
to
do
like
anything to
50.
the cars.
And all of a
Kelly's
sudden,
only
we'll see
so
a
I can go
190,
by
and then
the
it goes down
cars.
to 5. You know, it was weird. It was all over the place. And again, when I see that, like I gotta watch my own head, kind of see if I'm seeing my own triggers.
Right.
But yeah,
So you
average.
want me to just kind of stroll
You
around?
got it.
Or?
Find a hot spot and then grab one of the 2 spirit box people. If you have, like, I would say definitely above that 20.
Right, so we
Probably
walk around?
Yep, you got it. And you're recording.
Stay.
Nice.
Yep. Hopefully it's capturing something.
Hey.
It's much smaller than like.
Why does it look
when
like
he was
somebody's
there. Like,
sitting on
I
something?
know, it does totally look like somebody's sitting. Are you sitting, Eliza? Raise your right hand if it's you. Somebody jumps out of this dumpster.
Well, you do the talking first. You got this. You can hear.
Where's the figure that was sitting? Like behind it? Oh.
Sure.
Okay, I think that's her. See, like that one you could tell is like more tall. That other one is like really little. Ooh, 49. Okay, let's see.
Fine. No. What if you point it like this?
Hear anything you're saying. So if you ask the question, I'll see if I can pick up at this environment.
Eliza, was there a tragedy at the mansion? He said the mansion was over here and there was a tragedy. Is that where we're seeing her figure?
Looks like it, yes.
It was like music for a second. Eliza, was there a party the night of the tragedy?
Are you making a box spike?
Nothing there.
Can't make what? I can't make it out.
No, I know.
There's definitely a lot of activity happening over this way.
Not so much I get a full figure, but it's just
It's music.
We'd love to hear your voice.
And it's going crazy. And there's a little music. So maybe the tragedy happened when there was a party at the house and there was dancing. Go on with my story.
no, you got it.
We figured it out.
All right.
Like I thought of something that was like, oh, that's different. But then I heard a gospel radio back, so I connected those things I heard like ups and downs
Bonnie,
or something.
movie?
But I didn't refer to that.
don't think I'm getting it anymore.
Okay, why is there two?
I know.
Why is there two and they're over here? Eliza, are you with somebody? Yes? Are you with somebody?
Walk 20 miles.
What do we got going on over here?
Okay. So we got, when we're going over this way, it looks like a little figure, almost like dancing. Like we keep hearing, it almost sounds like music coming through.
Okay.
It's very active.
It's very active. But then when Cole just turned around here, there was definitely two. Like,
Okay. That thing will also pick up on shadows.
Okay.
So it is not a person on the ground, it's you. Okay, just so
Oh,
you know. So
interesting.
it would be going this way if you were to see them.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. You might be picking up on the outline of the car.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the car from here.
So you see how they got a little bit of a bubble, and that
Yep.
guy looks like he's hunched over? That's
But-
my first instinct.
But this one here, this is the car. But this is past the car. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
And they were two side by side just a second ago.
Yeah, from here, because the car's right there. But this is from here, I was like,
Oh,
I figured this might be the lights from there.
Yeah, and what happens when it's this dark, I take a screenshot and I brighten it up. I want to see what's behind it.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Something
a good idea.
And what happens with that, like if I do find something, you will have the screenshot, but it has a slide bar. So you slide it one way and it gives you the full original version, the dark version, and then you slide it the other way and they both line up. So that
Okay.
way you can see what I see.
Okay.
I make even your report interactive, if that makes sense.
Like something like this. If you get a little bit closer.
Diabetes and blood pressure.
Not the car, because the car's a little bit over to our left.
I'm wondering, and this is just me trying to debunk, do we have the trunk of the tree?
Yeah, that would align with the tree possibly. Yep. Yep.
You see where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to debunk it yet. But if
Definitely.
you do see something like that, like Eliza, if that's you or Charles, can you raise your right
we
hand?
asked
She
Eliza.
was doing good with
I
that.
asked Eliza to raise her right hand because it looked like a figure that was sitting over there.
And the interactions that I have, that's what we've gotten. It would be like, okay,
Diabetes.
can you lower your right hand and raise your left? And that's the kind of interaction we want. So you're on the right track. I like the fact that you're thinking outside the box and like, is that the car? Is that the tree? Is it that wall? Now you know it could be your shadow, so forth and so on. Anything. And so have you gotten any words at all?
Just music.
It sounded
vague
like
music,
it sounded
just
like
how-
vague music
Yeah.
almost
Okay.
when we were faced towards this way.
It just means you're getting better reception, just like any radio.
Okay.
I
That's
like to
how we
tell you
kinda
guys
got
to
closer.
keep your antennas in because you don't want to give it too much.
Okay.
They do have antennas, and I know a lot of investigators will actually take them off, so that way it gets the most minimal amount of reception as it possibly can.
Okay.
I don't prefer that. You need something to grab. So what we're doing between both communication devices is we're creating a large grab bag of words to be able to sift
Right.
through.
Did you just hear his diabetes and blood pressure?
I thought I heard him say the
Or-
word diabetes, but I missed blood
I
pressure.
think he said blood pressure too. Kev, was it high blood pressure or blood pressure? Diabetes and blood pressure?
The number 200
Ooh, you got a
And-
number.
or 240 or 40. The number 200 or 40.
Okay.
Was it blood pressure you heard too, though?
Like what?
You said diabetes and blood pressure?
Diabetes and blood pressure was two other words that jumped.
Okay. 240.
200 or
What were you asking?
Over here, I was over here asking how old Charles was. I said, how old was your son? And then I said, how old was
That's crazy.
We're now not getting anything.
Okay, I say we